Lights up!
The Mayfly. I'm going to go around and ask you to introduce yourselves and the character that you play. I'm going to start with Jodi first because she's the director. So Jodi, welcome to Lights Up. Now do tell us about the Mayfly. So you're directing your directorial debut.
Yeah, I'm delighted that I've got the opportunity to do this. I saw Mayfly back in 2018 when it debuted at the Orange Tree Theatre in Richmond, and I've been since then. I've been acting and things and directing, doing directing courses, and I was looking for a play that I loved and connected with to put on ideally here at Putney, and so Mayfly was the perfect choice for me. It's a gorgeous family drama. It's full of all of the things that make life special. It's the love between the family, it's loss, it's getting past that loss, it's memory of lost youth and the sadness that can come from that, and how you move on past a trauma and reconnect as family. And it's funny, it's properly funny and beautifully written by Joe White, so I'm thrilled to bits to be producing it.
Doing
I've got
it.
A great cast who I will allow to introduce
Yes,
themselves.
Please, Morgan, far away. So welcome to Lights Up.
No,
you want to
thank
introduce yourself and say who you're playing?
No, thanks for having me as well. I'm playing Harry in Mayfly. Harry is the only character that's not he's not part of the family who consist of the rest of the cast, and yeah, he's the outsider, and he sort of comes into these people's lives over the course of the play, and yeah, it kind of unfolds from there. Yeah.
No spoilers, please, no spoilers. Yeah. And Jess, welcome. Now you're brand new to Putney Theatre Company, so a special big welcome to you.
Thank you very much.
And you're playing Loops, is that right?
I'm playing Loops. She's sort of a hard as nails character, I guess is the best way to describe her. But really she's putting on a bit of a mask because, you know, this family's been through a lot of trauma. A lot of pain, so it's just a big thing that she uses to cover it up, but she comes across as very hard, and that's been really fun to play.
Oh, so, I bet it is.
Yeah, it's good fun.
And Emily, a long-standing stalwart of PTC, welcome back.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for having me again. I'm Emily Fellows, and I am playing Kat, who is the mum in this family. I think she's quite mischievous. She's quite vulnerable as well, but she kind of tries to cover that up, and really she just yearns to be heard, to be seen, to be accepted, really. But yeah, she doesn't come across like that all the time, I don't think. She's got lots of different layers to her. It's been really exciting to play, actually.
And Oscar, again, another new person to PTC, welcome.
Good morning, and thank you very much for having me on here today. My name is Oscar Heron, and yes, my first time with the Putney Theatre Company. My character is Ben. I am the father or patriarch of the family, and so my story just really begins with a very dark and desperate time, and seems to have a very disjointed family, and he's just really trying to piece everything together. And over the time that the play goes, you see a lot more layers. It's like peeling off an onion, and there's a lot more to him than meets the eye.
Fantastic. Now, Joe White, am I right in thinking he won an award for this?
He did. He won the OFFE, the Off West End Award for Most Promising New Playwright for Mayfly, and his current play, Blackout Songs, which is up at Hampstead Theatre, was nominated for an Olivier Award.
Oh my.
So he's a very exciting playwright. He has such a conversational way of writing, and it's hard, you know, because there's hard to do as an actor.
I was going to ask that. How's that in the rehearsal process when it's conversational? It's very tricky because it's overlapping, and but at the same time, of course, you've got to make it as if it's the first time you've ever said these words. So how's that been from? How's Jodi been directing those scenes? You can say what you like, don't worry.
I think the overlapping is particularly difficult. Joe used a lot of sashes for the overlapping and dashes because the thought is continuing. So then it's being on top of, if you're the next person speaking, being ready to come in with that. But he also puts Joe also puts a lot of punctuation into his dialogue, into the lines, which I find really useful because it really, really helps you with what the line is conveying.
And so the main themes of this, so we're thinking it's grief, loss.
Grief, loss, it's memory and nostalgia. You know, we have lovely Kat and Ben, you know, they were the posh and becks of their village, the rock stars, the super popular couple, and they fell in love at 17 and they've been together ever since with this lovely family. And there are moments of, you know, looking back on those glory days and the hopes that you would have had for your life and how your life actually turned out. We've all had those moments. You know, you find an old photo, you get a bit of a lump in your throat. Think, was I ever that gorgeous? Did I ever know
it's really
it?
depressing,
Why
isn't
didn't
it?
I know it back then?
I know, it's the one thing I wish I could tell youth is like, whatever you look like now, you look great.
You're amazing.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Because I promise you, when you're 50 and you look at photographs of yourself like that, you want to weep.
Yeah, exactly. And there's a lot about memory. You know, there's moments they cast their memory back to the time that they met and the stories that families share.
And so now we're fast forward to how many years later? How long have they been married for?
So they've been married for a good 28 years.
And Oscar, are they happily married? Is this a match made in heaven?
Well, they have been happily married.
Right, at some point.
That's,
I like to think at the start, at least.
yes, I guess like a lot of married couples, they have their ups and downs. Yeah, I guess you just got to come along and see the show to find out how well this marriage is going. If there is a spark there that can be reconnected or reignited, you got to come and see these teenage lovers, you know, face to face.
Absolutely.
And just work their magic for you.
Thank you. That's a trailer and a half, isn't it? Now, Jess, you play Loops, and she is the daughter.
She is the daughter. Yeah.
And how old is Loops?
She's 25.
She's 25. And she's still living at home.
She's still living at home,
Oh,
which is a
dear
bit
Lord,
odd. We did discuss
Today's
that.
climate.
I was going to say that's the sign of the times, isn't it?
But yeah, she's the daughter, and don't want to give too many spoilers about the play, but she's obviously lost somebody very close to her, and she's just navigating that, really. I think she's quite isolated, quite lonely, really. She's close to her dad, not very close to her mum, which you'll see in the play.
And is she coping with her grief? Is she
Well,
tormented, or is she...
I think that's what it is. That she is a mask, and so she's hiding this grief. She's masking it from the world.
So on the surface, everything is fine, and underneath...
there's a lot of brewing.
Yeah.
And it comes out in places. So.
And what's her relationship like with her mother?
Quite disjointed, I think. I don't think they're very close. I don't get that sense that they're close at all. Do you?
I don't. No, not at all.
No, it's quite telling that there are duologue scenes between all of these characters, except for between Loops and Kat. And there's a jovial, teasing banter between Ben and Loops that suggests that lovely close father-daughter relationship. And we think Kat feels excluded from that and lonely and unseen.
I was going to say, that's quite hard, isn't it? There's just the three of them.
Yeah.
And particularly if you don't have that closeness.
In the cold.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, Morgan, you are not a family member.
I'm not a family member, no.
So you come into their lives.
Yeah, and that's really the crux of it. I think it's just over a day, this stranger just comes into all three of this family's lives separately, and then not so separately, and then he's very much just appears and has no previous links to any of them, and that's kind of where it goes. And he's very much a wise head on young shoulders. He's such a caring, thoughtful, loving individual, but just really nice person,
Nice
basically.
bloke.
Nice bloke. Yeah.
Oh, so he comes into this fairly, which is sounding dysfunctional family. And is the calming influence of that, or what's the main role as his sort of part in the group?
No, I think that's a way of putting it. I guess a calming influence. I think he
fills a gap for each of the family characters, I would say.
Oh, that's interesting. Whatever's missing in their particular life, that he can sort of brings it to them.
Yeah, really comes in and makes a difference, I think. Yeah.
And is that difference, is that going to be lasting? Do we get because the whole play is set over the lifespan of a mayfly, isn't it? 24 hours.
Yeah,
Very
that's
clever,
right.
Joe.
That's right. 24-hour period. And for me, this is ultimately a very hopeful play. So I have great hopes for the happiness, the long-lasting happiness and connections of this family.
Is that because you're an optimist, my darling, or do we think this is how Joe's written it, that we all come out of the studio going, yay, life is great and they'll all be happy and hurrah?
Whilst I am an optimist, I do think the latter. I do think that it was written that way to take you through. And I think, it was that's one of the reasons I wanted to do this play as well after that period of, COVID, when we all were locked down and we all lost connections with one another for the longest period of time, and it all felt a bit hopeless sometimes. And I think it's a really nice one to put on with that optimism afterwards, because it takes place. We've set this play very much in May 2023. It was a contemporary play, and so we had some discussion about what happened to this rural family during lockdown. They're isolated anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
So what did that deepen any rifts that people had, any cracks that there were?
Well, I think it went both ways, isn't it, during lockdown, that those connections that you didn't have, and of course living in the middle of the nowhere, you've literally got nowhere to go, so you feel very isolated from the outside world. So it's from the studio from the 16th to the 20th of May. Now, dear listener, I'm going to have to tell you this and be quite stern. Studio shows sell out. And I know that ticket sales for this are already flying out, so I'm thrilled for you all. So our previous show, Kinder Transport in the Studio, sold out 2 weeks before they went up. So don't wait until the last minute, because then you won't see it. So we've added an additional performance, the Matinee. Make sure you book your tickets in the usual way, online, via Facebook, or the other social media channels. Now, what are our audience going to take from this? Are they going to come out bouncing and going, oh my God, that was the most joyous thing in the world I've seen, I'm so pleased that everyone's happy and awe? Are they going to come out being a bit more thought-provoking, or sit there and sort of reflect in their own lives? Or maybe all three? Morgan, what do you think?
I would hope they come out like Jodi put it very well. It's a very hopeful play, so coming out hopeful. I think it's reflective as well, and yeah, it's just one of those things that's for us as actors as well. It's just a bit of a gift, really, because the writing does all the work for you, really, as well.
That is joyful, isn't it?
And so it's one of those. It's just so well.
And how have rehearsals been? Because of course we've had the welcome going on in the main stage whilst you've been rehearsing for the Mayflies.
We've been very lucky to have St Mary's Church, actually, which has fabulous spaces. We're rehearsing there with the organ as well.
That was nice.
So that was quite nice as well.
I was just going to say there are some lines that Leaps has that are fairly blasphemous, actually. quite tricky to be shouting at the top of your voice in a church, frankly, and there's a bit of swearing. You better be ready for that. And we've done quite a lot of thinking of the rehearsal space. There are some kissing scenes. There are some very emotional moments in this play. It's not the sort of thing you want to be rehearsing in a very public space as well. So we've had to plan quite carefully about where we do that, and an amazingly professional cast as we've worked through the choreography of that. And they've all been incredibly versatile. I mean, we just arrive at whatever space we have. It's quite a minimalist production. As Morgan says, the writing does the work. So we just set up what we need. We imagine what it looks like, and off we go.
And off you pop. Have script will travel.
Exactly. Well, they're off script. They were off book ages ago.
Oh, I'm so proud of you all. Just nod and just lie. Yes.
I think I'm on the wrong script.
And just so you're new to Putney, so how did you find out about us? I know the answer to that question through Jodi.
Through Jodi, yeah. Me and Jodi did a show back in December, Earthquakes in London at City Lit. I actually stepped in quite last minute because somebody got COVID in that cast, so I stepped in kind of 5 days before, I think it was, which was a bit insane. And then, met Jodi, and then Jodi let me know about this, and I thought, well, yeah, I'll come and audition. And
Jodi, this is your first time directing here.
It is.
And how's it been?
Do you know what? I've loved it. I wasn't. You're never sure. Is it going to be very stressful and be more like work than work is? And it absolutely hasn't been. I mean, I do a lot of planning, and I know everybody's laughing right now.
I'm nodding because I've seen.
That's a bit of an understatement, everybody listening.
I'm a big fan of a spreadsheet and a table. I like to know what's happening when, so that you go in with a plan, and I can be nice and relaxed then around whatever happens in the room happens in the room. So I've just had an enormous amount of fun. I mean, we're 2 weeks really before we go up, essentially.
Yeah, 2 and a bit, isn't it? Because you go up on the 16th and today is the 30th.
Yeah, so just over 2 weeks. And yeah, I think we're in really good shape. We're at the point where we can be doing runs. We've got our set build team arriving today, and we've got stunning ideas from our brilliant designers around how the set's going to look.
Who's designing your set?
We've got Tony. Basically, we've got the dream team. I know there are many dream teams here, but I'm just going to say I think we've got the dream team, frankly.
For you?
For me, personally,
yes. She adds quickly. Yeah. Oh, brilliant. So I understand, Jodi, you've been in touch with Joe White, who wrote The Mayfly. What have your conversations been about?
So he was really lovely. As soon as social media can be a great thing, so it was as soon as I was tagging Orange Tree Theatre, and I follow Joe on Instagram anyway, he messaged me to say he was delighted that we were doing the play and that I liked it, and if it would help, would he come into a rehearsal if it was helpful?
Oh,
so of course,
awesome.
Yes, it will be, and he's coming this week. And we've also been in touch. He also suggested I message Guy.
Who was the director?
Guy Jones he directed Mayfly, and he has a strong creative partnership with Joe, and he's the director of Blackout Songs as well. So they're very busy. Like, they've got a show on a major stage in London. And so I've messaged Guy
and
with
they're
a
going
few
to come...
little questions, and Guy's going to get back to me with his thoughts on that.
So Joe's actually going to come to a rehearsal?
Yeah.
That's amazing. So have you got any burning questions that you want to ask him that you were too afraid to ask?
Well, I've clearly got about 5,763 questions to ask him.
We're going to have to lock him in the room.
Yes, exactly.
On a spreadsheet.
On a spreadsheet.
Colour-coded.
Prioritised and colour-coded. I have asked him the main burning ones. I think it'll be more just, you know what, I'm just delighted for him to see the work that we're doing and to get his take.
Now, I'm popping in on Tuesday, me and Barney are, so I can't wait to come and see it.
Excellent. Well, I hope we might not necessarily have everybody, because you know that we have working actors in our space here.
Yes.
That Jess has literally just flown back from New York, where she's starring in an independent film, and Morgan is filming at the beginning of next week as well. So, this
Such
is
a
how it is
multi-talented
when you
cast we have here.
Exactly. So.
Well, thank you very much, guys. Lovely to meet you all. Lovely to meet you, Jess, for the first time, and you, Oscar, and welcome to Putney Theatre Company.
Thank you very much for having us.
But I hope you've had an enjoyable experience and come back again when you're not doing all the other professional engagements. And you, Morgan, always lovely to see you.
Yes.
I can't believe it seems a lot longer that you've been a member than you actually are.
Yeah.
Obviously, in the impression that you've made, my friend.
Oh, thank you. Well,
there we go.
That was a very Harry response.
Well, dear listener, just to remind you, it's on from the 16th until the 20th of May in the studio. Do book your tickets quickly before they sell out, and we look forward to seeing you there. Until the next episode, we'll see you then. Goodbye.
Goodbye, everybody.
This is a real Putney Theatre Company production. Do share the podcast with your friends and take a look at our website, searching online for the Putney Theatre Company. So that's it for now. See you next time.